Good evening, Well Church. How are we doing today? This lovely evening. How are we doing with our quarantine? How are we doing with what we're going through? Hope all is well. I'm praying for you guys. I love you guys. I miss you guys. And it's unfortunate that we have to do things this way, but I think after we're starting to get the hang of this now. We're starting to understand what we have to do, and hopefully we'll just get through this and just be back to church together again. So I'll just get right into this. I want to talk about when it's all over. When this virus passes, this too shall pass, when the storm passes. And I'm using a particular scripture because these people went through a storm similar to this, and they had to wait it out. And I want to talk about that. But the reason why this is called When It's All Over, because it's about what we do when it's over. What is going to be different about us? What is going to be different about me? What is going to be different about the Well Church? What are we going to do? I know we're going to be excited to see each other, and we're going to hug and love on each other like we always do. But what else? What else are we prepared to do? So I just want to get into that a little bit, and let's just get right into that. I don't want to be more than 15 minutes of your time. I know it's late. And then we could just, bless the Lord together via internet and have a good night. So let's just get right into this. So it's my personal opinion, and everyone who has kids can understand what I'm talking about. We as a nation and other nations in the world, we have all been put in time out, right? When a kid is bad, what do? You send him to the corner and he's got to be quiet. She's got to be quiet. We've all, as a nation, have been put in time out. We've been sat down. We've not allowed to do our ripping and running that we always do. And that might be a message for a lot of people who do a lot of ripping and running. This could be used as a time to sit down, evaluate your life, evaluate your spirit. And then when it's time to come out of timeout, when it's time to come out of quarantine, let's see what we can do better. So we've slowed down our pace. We're sitting at home. We're around people. The interesting thing is that we're around people that normally we're around for only a few hours and then we go to sleep. Now we're around them all day. And so that's different because we're not used to that. So this is what we're going into. And in some instances, this is good. Spouses are getting closer together. Parents are getting closer with their children. But unfortunately, in some instances, this has been bad. There's been a lot of domestic violence. There's been greater alcohol consumption. And there's been more aggravation and agitated personalities because I can't go anywhere. And so that's unfortunate. But let's look at what we can do while we're in the house to better ourselves when we come out of the house. So let's look at this. Why do we put children in timeout, right? A lot of times children get put in timeout because they did something wrong. They were disrespectful. They were being too loud. There's a lot of different reasons, why we put our children in timeout. But normally something went wrong. Now, the idea is not to beat them, but to teach them that they should think about, contemplate on why they got put in timeout so that they can avoid getting put in timeout in the future. And that goes to a lot with this whole virus, what we're doing while we're in the house being quarantined. When we get out the house, yeah, we want to go to the barbershop and we want to go to restaurants and we want to go to the movies. But what are we prepared to do when we get out so that if this ever happens again, we'll be better ready and better prepared to deal with it? But not just that, we should also talk about what's going to change in our lives going forward. And that's the main thing that I want to focus on today. What are we going to do after this COVID virus? What's going to be different about us? So when this is over, are we better? Do we come out of our homes better? Or do the things we were doing in our homes amplify? And now we have new habits and new problems that we have to deal with. And saints in Well Church, that's the main thing that I want. I don't want us to be doing anything in the house that when we get out the house, now we have to go to the altar call and pray about that. Now pastor has to teach about some of the habits we picked up while we were in the house, and makes things more difficult for everybody involved. So, I know you're staying prayed up. I know we're doing our reading like we should. We should be listening to YouTube. We should be listening to songs, listen to sermons preached, even besides our pastor. We should be doing things in the house that are going to make us better when we get out of the house. So let's not rush this virus. And I'm going to get into that. Let's be disciplined and wise until the experts let us know we can safely go back to our normal lives. So I want to go to Genesis chapter 8, read three quick verses, and we're going to see an example of what these individuals did after they were quarantined. What's the first thing they did when they got out of quarantine? Because I think it sets the standard for how we're going to go moving forward. So I'm going to be reading from the book of Genesis chapter 8. Genesis chapter 8, verses 18 through 20. And it reads this way. So Noah and his wife and his sons and their wives left the boat, and all the large animals and small animals and birds came out the boat, pair by pair. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and there he sacrificed as burnt offerings the animals and birds that had been approved for this purpose. And I just want to talk briefly about that, because first point I want to make is this. If you read the whole chapter, particularly verses 13 and 14, but I implore you to read the whole thing, because when the water stopped and it stopped raining, they did not get off the boat then. There were months of different things that God asked them to do. There was months of different things when the boat rose high enough so that it would be at the mountaintops. Then they could see other mountains, and it was like 2.5 months and 2 more months, and then 40 days, and then another week. And then the point is, when this virus stops, even though the curve is flattened, it is not time to come out of the house. Because what will happen is we'll come out, we'll think where everything's fine, we'll start partying, we'll start going to football games, we'll start going to restaurants, we'll start going to the movies, we'll start doing all these things, and then we'll have to go back in the house because we weren't fully prepared to come out of the house. And that's what I think the biggest thing about this situation with Noah was. Noah and his family and the animals had to wait. Because imagine if you come out of your house in terms of this COVID-19 and you think everything's fine. So you and the kids, you're hanging out, you're going places because you have such, You have such nostalgia for what you used to do. And you endanger your children and they get sick. And so that will crush you. So we need to, just kind of like how Noah did, stay on the boat for a while. Let the water subside. Let the animals, let the land subside so that not only you can come out the boat, but the animals can come out the boat. And your children can come out the house. And your grandparents can come out the house. Because as young people, we feel strong, we feel vibrant, and we feel like as soon as the government says we can come out of the house, we're going to shoot out of the house and we're going to do all of these things. But the children's immune system and the elderly immune system isn't as strong as ours. So as to be respectful to everybody, I think we should just kind of wait and let the experts tell us what to do, when to do, how to do it, so that we don't have to go back in house. Because I can tell you, and Well Church, many of you know Reverend Bazemore. I'm a homebody. I don't need to be out doing a lot of things. I did a lot of things in my past, and I can't believe that I'm not either dead or locked up for them. So I tend to kind of fall back and just kind of relax. But this is even bothering me. Even I want to get out of the house. Even I want to go to restaurants and to the movies and the different things that me and Sister Norel love to do. I'm dying to do them, but I have to be wise. I can't be just so anxious in this. And I heard people, even on Facebook, arguing that whether this COVID-19, this coronavirus, is a matter of faith or wisdom, right? Do you have the faith to come out of the house, or are you wise because you stay in the house? And here's my thing. Faith and wisdom are inseparable. It's not faith or wisdom. It's faith and wisdom. When do I operate in faith and when do I operate in wisdom? And in this particular situation, I think that wisdom has taken the wheel. I think this is about wisdom. I think this is about safety. Even if this was all a hoax, right? Just like we say with salvation, let's say there is no God. Well, then I get the same fate as what you get. There's just nothing. But what if there is a God? Well, if you didn't believe, you're probably going to have a more difficult time in eternity than I do. So I think that being safe is more important. Being wise is more important at this time than operating in faith. And look, when we get out of here, we're going to show crazy faith. And we're going to show God that this quarantine made us better and not worse. And we're going to believe God that he brought us out like he brought the children of Israel out, like he brought Noah and his family out the ark. God is a God that brings people out. But excuse me, but it always takes time. There's always a process. There's always a situation where you have to do certain things before you come out. And saints, I just implore you today to just be safe, be ready, be vigilant, do what you need to do, follow what the experts are telling you to do, and then you'll be better at protecting yourself and your family. So Noah's family was on the ark, just like we're quarantined in our homes. And let's talk about it. What do we miss? I'm sure Noah missed the land, right? I'm sure Noah missed the fruits and the vegetables. I'm sure Noah missed the pastures. I'm sure Noah missed, getting his stick and walking around and, going with the sheep and doing all this. But he couldn't do that. So now he has to do what he has to do. And we have to do what we have to do to make sure we're protected and those who we love protected. Far be it from me to just be so eager to go to church and I infect somebody at church because I'm thinking I have a lot of faith, but their immune system is weak and then they get sick. So here again, like I said, it's not really about faith at this point. This is about wisdom. Faith will come because, like I said, the two are inseparable. So what are some of the things we're missing? What are we missing about the outside? Because let's talk about it. Because me and Sister Norel was talking about it. Some of the things we miss, sometimes I come home from work and I'm like, I want to go to Red Lobster. I want to go to the mall. I want to go shopping. These are the things that Reverend Bazemore likes to do. And I know there's many other things. I know people like, they want to go to restaurants. They want to go to nail and spa salons. They want to go to the barbershop. Let me pause real quick and talk about the barbershop. For 27 years, only one person has been cutting Reverend Bazemore's hair. For 27 years, almost 3 decades. Last night, I had to buckle down and admit to myself that Sister Norel is probably going to have to give me a haircut. And since that was hard, because I never wanted to admit that I would let her do something like that. That was sacred to me. She gives me my Saturday. She knows 3-4 hours. He's going to be getting his haircut. He's going to be hanging out, chilling with them because he's known them for so long. And I had to say to myself, she's got to cut my hair. So this morning I got up for work. And before I left, I let Sister Norel cut my hair. And I wanted to cry. But I knew I had to be strong, but it was difficult for me to let her do that. Now, I know some of y'all are probably laughing at me because y'all know Reverend Bazemore are crazy, but I'm just talking about the different things that we have to go through that we can't do. I know a lot of guys, they want to hit up the gym, something serious, and they can't do it. They want to hit up the basketball court. It's getting warm, some serious. And it's really not feasible to do that right now. So what am I saying? Admit what's difficult. Put it in your prayers. It may seem simple and it may seem like not important, but what you need to do is talk to God about what's really on your heart, what's weighing heavy on you. And they're not simple to him because he knows the proclivities and he knows the things that's going on in your heart and mind. So just talk to him about it. I think it's more therapeutic. I think it makes it easier. And saints, if you don't do nothing else, learn to laugh. Find some movies to laugh at. Go in your phone. Me and Sister Narelle were doing it. We went on our phone. We found some movies or some videos from like 2 or 3 years ago that we forgot we had. And we just sat on a bed and laughed about it. What you don't want to do is do, like I said, what other people are doing that's not so good. Fighting with your wife or your husband, yelling at your kids all day long, drinking and doing drugs. We don't want to do that because that's going to lead to more problems when we come out of this quarantine. So let's be like Moses, because here's the thing. Noah erected an altar first thing when they got out the boat and sacrificed animals. How many of y'all first thing want to show up at the Well Church extra early, unnecessarily early, almost like this altar he set up to come to hear the praise and worship team, to come to hear the altar call, to come to hear the announcements? I want to hear the announcements. Who wants to hear the announcements? I want to know what we're doing forward. Meet and greet, fellowship, hug, hear Pastor Killer. First of all, me and him ain't talk about this, but I know Pastor working on a sermon that's going to be so fire and crazy, it's going to knock us off our socks. Let's be like Noah and his family did. Get out this quarantine. Come to the house of the Lord. Give your best praise. Put your best clothes on and say, God, you made it through. When it's all over, I'm going to put on my robe. I'm going to go outside, tell the story on how I and my family made it over the curve, made it over the coronavirus, and got back to the house of God to praise and worship him because he is due of the glory and the honor and the praise. So here's the thing. Stay connected with people. Text people. Call people, comment on Facebook, whatever people are doing. Let's stay connected. But when we come out of this, let's tear down the house with praise and singing and fellowship and just a good old time with the Lord. David said, I was glad when they said unto me. Well, saints, ain't nobody in like 4 or 5 weeks done said unto me. So I can't wait till I wake up that Sunday and the Lord says unto me, Reverend Bazemore, get ready to go into the house of the Lord when it's all over, saints. That's what it's about. Get ready, prepare, do what you need to do while you're in the house so you'll be set to go when it's time to leave the house. That's all I had, saints of God. I love you guys. I miss you guys. I can't wait to be with you guys. Let's just stay connected, stay focused. Let's stay disciplined. Let's listen to the experts and do what we need to do to protect ourselves. But at the end of the day, we're going to praise God like never before that first Sunday when we come out of it, because we're going to be glad when it's all over. Well, church, that's all I have. I love you guys. I miss you guys. And I hope you guys stay safe and blessed in the name of the Lord. Have a good night.